Well, hello, welcome to Wedding Hero Wednesday. It is 12 noon Eastern, 1 o'clock Atlantic, which is where I am. 12 noon was ages ago. It's in the past. But thank you to those of you who are joining live. And it is crack of dawn out west. I know about that. I've heard about it from my Pacific friends. So if you are watching from out west, thank you for joining, getting up with the birds and all that. It is beautiful here on the Atlantic coast for Wedding Hero Wednesday. So thrilled you can join. Of course, this is the series where we are walking through my book. See if I can get the title right this time. Wedding Zero to Ceremony Hero. Perfect. I nailed it. We are just walking through the book, however long it takes. This is week 6, session 6, and I'm thrilled to see people in the chat already. I gotta say, I came in here today and it felt like a bit quiet, some tumbleweeds. Maybe the weather's super nice everywhere else as well. And, usually we even have people on the golf course who are chiming in live. So if you are here live, please say hello like Ben did. I know I was like, well, I guess at least Ben's here. What's up? What's up? And Ben G in the house. Is that your officiating stage name? Ben G. Bang, am I saying it right? Ready to party with MAG and the legals and the MAG and the legals. Boy, you're really spitting some mysterious stuff today, Ben. Hope everything's okay there in North Dakota and you're doing well. Love that you're here. And I also love that Eric is joining, one of the most recent members of Unboring Wedding Academy. You came in. William, yes, a.k.a. Eric, a.k.a. Will. I remember getting your purchase and saying, oh, Eric registered. Oh, no, William registered. Anyway, William, whatever you go by, so glad you're a member and just can't wait to journey with you. And I love that you're here live to talk today about pre-ceremony details. This is where we're going to talk about those 15-minute before jitters, those butterflies that are happening in your stomach. Yes, it's okay when you're an officiant. People ask me all the time, are you nervous, Mark, before you start? Guests ask me this, couples ask me this, fellow officiants and members. Yes, it's like crying. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a feeling. Feel what it's feeling. Listen to what it's telling you. And so I've learned to kind of check and do a body scan, what that 15 minutes before, when we're nervous and jittery in the butterflies, to me that means you care. If you start walking up there and you don't care at all, and I do hear from couples, especially in New Brunswick, judges or lawyers on the weekend who'd rather not be doing this. They go out there, throw a black robe on. You can see their track shoes and their jeans poking out from underneath. They just walk up there, they say some things, get in their car and drive away. That's not how I feel. I tell you, I'm pretty amped because I want this to be the ceremony the couple's dreams. I know I'm not nervous about how it's going to go necessarily, which is absolutely great. I always say once you've written the script, I say 90% of it is done at that point after you've rehearsed and you have the script in your hand and it's printed out and you make sure the sheets are in the right order and you've done all your pre-ceremony checks. That should have all happened up to this point, 15 minutes before the ceremony. Now you're just kind of in game mode. You're ready to walk up there and read your script. I get this asked a lot. How much of it do I need to memorize, Mark? None. Don't try to memorize. Now, you might want to be, with experience, more comfortable with your opening remarks. I don't say, good afternoon, everyone. Are you ready to have a good time? You want to be a little bit more loose. So I remember when I was newer, and I knew I wanted to connect and not stumble out of the gate. I wanted to make a great first impression in my opening remarks with couples, all the guests, rather. Usually the couple's not there yet. Sometimes one of the marriers is, but I would be in the 15 minutes before, once we figure out all the things we're going to nail down today, and you, officiant, don't have much to do, you can decide what you do in that 15 minutes. But I remember I was usually off to the side, just rehearsing my opening lines, just so I wouldn't get up there, look out at all the people and blank out. And I still kind of do that. Again, after doing hundreds and hundreds of these, I know I'm going to walk up there and say something like, and I've told you this before, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, come on now. I don't know if you've noticed, we have this whole place to ourselves. We're allowed to make some noise. Good afternoon. People cheer and shout and scream. So I know I'm going to say that. But at first, Again, it was like saying the couple's name over and over as a mantra. Definitely did not want to blank on them. And I can't say that I had a perfect record on that. Occasionally, I would take a moment and be like, "Oh yeah, Eric and Tracy, yeah, that's right." So you don't make it that obvious, hopefully. But in this 15 minutes before, when everyone else is a basket case, and boy, if you've officiated, you know what it's like in that 15 minutes where everyone's nervous, everyone's doing final checks. You got there early and you did the things already, and now you're just getting into game mode, doing your warm-up routine, whatever that is, off by yourself, I would recommend. You don't want to be doing too much striking up with guests or things like that, and then lose your head and forget where you are. So a lot of you are going to have your own different routine, but what we are nailing down today is that 15 minutes, half an hour before the ceremony. What does the couple need to know and get in place? So if you are following along, this is chapter there we go, chapter 3, plan the pre-ceremony, page 44 in the hardcover. And we are going to cover this chapter. It's not very long. And I'm going to show you can see that thumbnail at the bottom of the screen. That is my spreadsheet. If you want to jump in and follow along, get that as a free resource as part of reading the book, but now as part of being here, unboringweddingacademy.com/spreadsheet. This is a resource straight from my course, Unboring Wedding Academy. So those of you who are members will see this is familiar. But again, I want to thank you for joining live if you are, and you can grab that spreadsheet, take it for your own, download it, and follow along as we move through this whole thing. This book, these sessions are designed to turn you into a ninja of organizing and planning the wedding workshop with your couple. You do need to meet with them for an hour, I recommend, and talk it through. I do not recommend just sending them this spreadsheet or overloading them with work. Sit down with them, hold their hands, strike up a relationship with them. It will pay off hugely on wedding day when you take the time to educate yourself and then be a guide for them. Their confidence in you grows, the rapport with them grows, and by wedding day, again, that 50 minutes before especially, they're going to know they're in great hands, which is super important. Paul is here. Good to see you from Trumbull, Connecticut. Hopefully you're enjoying the beautiful weather we are. 10 degrees here today, which in our neck of the woods is quite a boon. Nice and balmy out there. I'm getting my son's bicycle tuned up today. 'Tis the season. And Sabrina is here. Good to see you. With a client, cannot attend today, but you came here to say that, and now you're probably in with that client. But good to see you, Sabrina. Sounds like the party's over. You were doing a lot of globe trotting and traveling. Was it California or Florida? I kind of, don't hate me, but as a Canadian, were you in California? I just see palm trees and humid weather. So I know there's a huge difference, but I've never been to California. I've been to Florida a few times, but I can't quite remember when somebody says if they were in California or Florida. Gary's here from Ohio. Good to see you. And Mike in Jacksonville. It's nice in Jacksonville. That's good to hear. Lenice is here. Was that right? I know you've said your name before. Lenice from Las Vegas. Hopefully I'm getting that right. Carol is in Costa Rica still. That's right. I was like, Carol from Ontario. No, Costa Rica. Okay, Carol from Ontario in Costa Rica. I'm going to be there in a couple months, so I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to know more, Carol. Where are you? We're going to Liberia and Coco and Playa de Hermosa, that area. Good to see. I hope you're having a blast. Mark is here. This feels like a new Mark Aitken from St. Anne, MB. Is that Manitoba? MB. Is that Manitoba? Is that really? Let me know, Mark. Let me know if I got that right. Good to see you. MB. Is there an American state with MB? I don't know, but as you know, live here, I'm usually figuring out the state abbreviations. As Canadians, we don't get drilled on that the same way. But I have a feeling that's Manitoba. Sorry I didn't nail it right. It's St. Anne. Nobody knows about St. Stephen NB either, but but that's where I live. Latina, good to see you. Good to see you in San Antonio. Karen is here from Florida. Not California. I know that, Karen, because I've seen your website once upon two rings, and you got to. Oh, lots of great wedding stuff happening down there in the Tampa area. So good to see you, James from Wisconsin. Okay, now I feel like so many people are here in the chat. It was so quiet before. Mark, I'm wondering where you were. I'm expecting that 24-hour ahead of time tag on the wall, but you are here. Good to see you. Tiago from Brazil. That's amazing. Good to see you. Ava's here. Let's go to Puerto Rico. I would love to go to Puerto Rico. That would be amazing. Sure. Let's do it. Okay, and now we're getting temperatures, which is awesome. William says, Eric, aka William, says 70 was 38 yesterday. That happened here as well. It was freezing yesterday and quite warm today. So cool. Oh, and William's also saying don't have the book yet. Says it'll be here tomorrow, but it hasn't even shipped. Sorry about that. That's Amazon for you. Although they're usually pretty good where I am. You'd be surprised what you can live through. Let's get to it, okay? So if you do have your book, take out your book, everyone. Follow along. But of course, I'm going to flip over to the spreadsheet here. But before I do, like I say, what we're covering today is the pre-ceremony. That's its own chapter, because in the previous weeks, like, we came up to the logistics. So the microphone stuff, any readers for mics, how the couple's saying their vows for mics. So we got through kind of logistical details that are going to carry us through the ceremony in general. But now we sit down, and as I open the chapter, I say, this is likely the first time. I love this part of the meeting because I say, okay, we got all that stuff out of the way. Now let's actually put ourselves in the moment. If you're getting married on July 21st, I say this to the couple. Again, I'm teaching you how to be the guide so you can teach them. You're going to say to your couple, imagine it's 15 minutes of 4, 20 minutes of 4 or so. Let's really put ourselves in the space. What's happening? And I can usually see the sweat start to bead on their foreheads, and they start to rub their hands. Like, they get nervous even just thinking about it. And as I say in the book, this is likely the first time that they are going to be put so firmly in that place, in your imagination, in their imagination. Okay, it's wedding day. The show starts in 20 minutes. And I'll look at them and say, okay, Sam and Alex, let's really understand what's happening before the ceremony even starts. So we're going to cover the 5 or 6 points today that you want to walk them through so that we can get with the ideal starting experience for the wedding ceremony. And as always, in this session, in this book, and as I tell you, we are leaving no stone unturned. We want to know every detail. There are going to be plenty of surprises for them on the wedding day, things that come up that they didn't expect or understand. And again, a good planner shields from that. But we want to make sure that it's not because of anything that we left unchecked, undone, undiscussed, okay? We want to do everything we can to make sure that as far as our part is concerned, we have checked every box. And that is why I open this chapter by saying, 3 things. First of all, if you're thinking, 15 minutes for the ceremony, 20 minutes for the ceremony, that's the wedding planner's jurisdiction. I would say, no, absolutely not. Anything that happens before that period is your responsibility because it is ceremony related. So as the officiant, do not let this go by, or like we say, unexplored, unexamined, unchecked, because things like microphones, things like paperwork, things like unity ritual accoutrements, things that need to be up there, you need to check on that before, because that's ceremony related. So it's not just the things that happen in the ceremony, it's all the things that need to be in place for a smooth ceremony. And so that's what we're going to cover here. So that's the first thing I say is, if it's 15 minutes, half an hour, anything that happens, I'd say within half an hour of the ceremony, because it's ceremony related, until that space gets flipped for dinner and dancing or cocktail hour, or the guests all move out and go somewhere else for drinks or cocktails or whatever it is, until that happens, if it's the ceremony related and it's in the ceremony space, I would say, officiant, you need to check on the things, if for no other reason, I learned this early, then when something happens, you're left holding the bag up there. You're the one front and center with the microphone. And so mitigate as many unexpected things as can happen. Okay. So I'm going to try to finish this in the next 15 minutes for your sake and and mine. Like I say, I like to keep these relatively on the short side. This shouldn't take too long today, but there's always more and more I can talk about, it seems. So the first thing I said was, this is your purview. Second thing I say is, when you're thinking about, isn't this the planner's responsibility? Don't ever assume they have a planner. Now, again, we asked earlier in the workshop with our couple, do you have a planner? But even if you didn't do that, you never want to say, this is up to the planner. I'm just going to assume they have a planner. No, every wedding should be treated as though, like I say, the ceremony is ours to plan. Okay. And the planner, even if there is a planner, and this is the third thing, even if there is a planner, when they see how organized you are around this ceremony part, they will be blown away. I heard it so much when I was early, before I knew every wedding planner, when they were encountering me for the first time. And it is my great joy when members of Unboring Wedding Academy tell me that planners are blown away when they see how well prepared members of Unboring Wedding Academy are. Officiants who go in and say, here's all the things, I know everything that's happening ahead of time. Planners are often asking us for our scripts because of those first 2 pages and how much we know about everything that's going on. That's a huge compliment in an industry, again, where you want to be referred. That is the goal. That's in my Unboring Wedding Pro business course. But how do you get clients? Man, our number one stream, our hot lead stream, is wedding vendors referring us. A planner saying, this is the best officiant I've ever seen. A DJ saying, this officiant is hands down the most organized, the most engaging, the most fun storytelling officiant I've ever seen in my entire career. Once that starts, the leads start coming in, and your officiating practice is off like a rocket, okay? So let's get into the first question. I'm going to flip over here to the spreadsheet so you can follow along. Previous weeks, like I said, we covered all the people, we covered the microphones. Now we're just going to focus on these 5 little sections here, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. If you're following along in the spreadsheet nomenclature, 15 minutes until the ceremony. That's where I've got this heading here. And this is the first question you want to ask them about this part. Have partner A and partner B, and again, I always say partner A is can be read as groom, and partner B can be read as bride traditionally. But again, I like marrier or partner in this case if it's same sex. Or so just kind of figure out early up here. Partner A's party, partner B's party. This is the first time in the spreadsheet you'll encounter that. And so maybe you want to just assign a name. Again, if it's Sam and Alex, you'll say, okay, partner A is going to be Sam and partner B is going to be Alex, or you decide that. So just keep them straight for the remainder of the spreadsheet. And again, you can make a copy of you're going to make a copy of every spreadsheet if you're using this. And maybe you want to even, Control F, Command F, swap in partner A, put somebody's name in, swap in partners B, put somebody's name in, and say, change all. That might make things easier for you. But here's the real important thing for setting us up well. Have partner A and partner B done a first look, or are they hiding from each other? First look, if you're not familiar with this, is kind of a more of a trend now. And I'd say more than half of my couples do this. This is something that is increasing in popularity. And that is, before the ceremony starts, an hour or 2 before, the couple will see each other. There'll be some sort of reveal. Maybe one has their back turned and the other comes up and taps them on the shoulder, and they turn and see them for the first time. And there's usually tears and hugs, and it's beautifully romantic. And sometimes that would be then when they exchange vows even. They have written and read their own vows to each other in this intimate moment. Often it's just them and maybe a videographer and a photographer. Sometimes there's parents or really close friends involved, close family members. Sometimes the wedding party, again, almost never. But so there's different ways to do the first look. We're not going to talk about that now. And I really do consider this to be more the planner purview. I don't ask any questions about this. I don't really need to know what they're doing in the first look. So if you're thinking, oh, now I got to learn all about first look. No, you don't. But this is really what's salient to us is, Are they hiding from each other, or are they hanging out together before the ceremony? When I arrive on scene in a wedding, I want to make sure I know where to find the couple, and I want to be prepared for whether or not they're allowed to see each other or not. Now, they're probably going to impose that on themselves and be very strict about it. Don't come in here, the bride's in here, or whatever. You're not allowed to see her. So there is a lot of that kind of fun. But again, because this is happening before the ceremony, we're putting them in the moment. We're envisioning it in our minds. I want to ask them, have you seen each other at this point of the day, 15 minutes before, or are you hiding from each other? Okay, so this is going to determine what happens, and I'll put that in my script in a bullet point. They've seen each other or they've not seen each other. That way I know when I get on site, kind of if I need to go find them in two separate places, okay? Now, rolling right into that, typically, this is very much going to determine how they answer the next question. Where are partner A and their party? And then the next one is where are partner B and their party? So again, if we think of partner A as more traditionally the groom, then this is where, traditionally the groom is in the ceremony space, and a lot of young couples have no idea about this. So again, I always use the word traditionally because that's our starting point. They might want to do, the traditional X, Y, Z, or they might want to depart from it. But just like everything else, we start with a convention. We start with a traditional, as we did before, the 10-part wedding ceremony. We're going to keep a lot of those 10 parts. We'll change them. We'll twist them. We'll add some things. But you want to start somewhere as like a baseline default mode. And so that's the same for here, where partner A traditionally is in the space, the groom saying hi to guests, posted at the door, or again, this is if the groom typically has not seen the bride, which is also traditional. The bride traditionally, when she comes out through the back doors, that's when the groom sees her for the first time. And a lot of couples love doing that. A lot of guests love seeing that for the first time. But like I say, more than half my couples now are deciding to do a first look and have that moment intimately and in private. And so that changes things here. So you can say to partner A, traditionally a groom will be in the space saying hi to guests, saying hello. You don't have to do that if you don't want to do that. You can be just hanging out with your party, your attendants in a room. As I say in the book, do you want to just be you and your friend Jack Daniels? Not too much of Jack Daniels, but just kind of in a room together or alone, whatever is best for you. So I kind of go into counselor mode a little bit and ask them, what is best for you? What do you want to be doing 20 minutes for the ceremony? Do you want to be alone just with your best man in a back room? Do you want to be taking your mind off the nerves by saying hi to people and mingling in the seats and that kind of thing? So paint that picture for them. Ask them what would be best for them. They're not bound by any tradition or convention. It's their wedding, whatever they want to do in this moment. Then partner B, same thing. Traditionally, the bride will be cloistered in a bridal suite with her party and maybe some parents. And so that is definitely an option. A lot of time when I officiate at like the Algonquin Resort, that's exactly what happens. The bride is in the bridal suite with her party and the parents, and then the wedding coordinator there, Kate, will get on the walkie-talkie and, okay, time to move. Okay, the eagle's on the move. She's coming down the hall, but we're making sure that the groom or her fiance is not seeing her, the one who's perhaps going to be up there when the ceremony starts, etc. So this is where you kind of say again, do you want to be doing that role, or plenty of brides now want to be out there, not the majority, but some want to be out there when people arrive, greeting people when they arrive, and guests are usually pretty surprised. Oh my gosh, Erica, you're out here in your dress and everything. But some brides are like that. Hey, I want to say hi. I want to, as people roll up, I want to greet them at the door, give them a hug. So that's okay too. But of course, what you lose in that is the whole first look, the traditional, she comes around the corner, or those back doors open and everyone catches their breath and the groom is beside himself, that kind of thing. You lose that, but you do gain more of a party atmosphere where all the attendants can hang out together. And when I say attendants, again, traditionally bridesmaids, groomsmen, but of course there's groomsmaids and bridesmen. And so that's why it's easier. We just say attendants now typically. So all the attendants are together and the marriers are together. I've done weddings at breweries where I go up and find them all together having beers on the house. And it's more of a party atmosphere before the ceremony. Okay, so that's what you walk them through. Partner A, where are you? Are you pressing the flesh, saying hi to everybody, tradition as per tradition? Are you off in a room alone together? Or have you seen each other in the first look and you're mingling and hanging out with your partner, your fellow marrier, and it's more of that whole party atmosphere before the ceremony? Partner B, are you going to do the traditional in your bridal suite, waiting, hiding from your fiance? Or do you want to be out greeting everybody or saying hi? Again, 90% of brides say no to that, but plenty of brides have done that. And of course, if it's a same-sex couple, then of course you'll have maybe both brides out there, neither, both grooms out there, neither. So this is where you just walk them through those options and always tell them what is do what's best for you in this situation. You're nervous. It's been a long day. You're tired. You're excited. You've got to this point of the day, maybe it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're already exhausted, but it's really just starting. The ceremony is just starting. The cocktail hour, the photos are just going to start. The party's going to start. So it's crazy how much day has happened. What do you need to be doing in the half hour before the ceremony? Okay. Now, before I hit the last two, and I do have lots of things to say there, I do want to just pop into the chat here and see, do you have any questions? Are there any comments happening in the chat about anything that I've said so far here? Let's see. Bring Mag to Cali, I'll buy lunch. Hey, Mark, if you buy me lunch, I will buy that $3,000 plane ticket. Sounds like a good deal for me. Mike says, I've used the worksheet twice in the last week. Both times was done under an hour. Boom, Mike. Love to hear that. It was awesome. Both couples said the same thing. I didn't think of that. Music to my ears. Not surprised, having done hundreds of these and, more than 1,300 members now. That is exactly what I'm going for, Mike. You want to keep it to less than an hour. And I've said at the beginning of these sessions, the way to keep it that way is when you hit them with something that they hadn't thought of, oh, I didn't think of that, you don't sit there and watch them hash it out. You actually just say, great, put a pin in it. It'll be in the script. I'll mark it as a TBD and we'll move on. So good, Mark. Love that. You made my day. Okay, Mark says it is Manitoba. Good. I'm just so used to us being overrun with Americans, Mark, that my default is typically the two-state abbreviation. So now I'm paranoid. I'm always thinking, which state is that? Yeah, MB, Manitoba. And I often, when I'm trying to type NB on any sort of online form, I slip and put MB and then, of course, St. Stephen, Manitoba. I'm not sure there is one, but who knows how many things have gone to my doppelganger address in St. Stephen, Manitoba. Mark is inviting people to Vegas. Oh, you're inviting me to hop over from Vegas after Wedding MBA. Cheap ticket. I would love to, but typically my mother-in-law, who's taking care of the kids, is really ready for us to come home at that point. And we miss our children, of course. Okay, no questions yet. Let me pop then and kind of check off these last two things. The last two things you want to talk about with your couple are, because again, we're envisioning, we're in the space, we're settling into the 15 minutes for the ceremony, really envisioning. Let's think of the ceremony space. Who's playing music? You would not believe how many couples say, as Mike said, I didn't think of that. We hired a DJ, and again, early in my career, before I started really honing this process, a lot of time a DJ would be setting up 15 minutes before and they'd say, oh, well, the couple didn't tell me to be here earlier. I'm getting paid from 3 o'clock ceremony start time. So I'm not playing any music before. I tell the couple, hey, it does make a huge difference that music is playing when guests arrive into the ceremony space. You got the flowers, it's beautiful. And really, you want the DJ like click, clack, clunkety clunk setting up their stuff. To have the conversation with the DJ. So a lot of time when we have this conversation in the workshop, then they'll have to go back to their DJ and say, hey, we just want to make sure that you will be there set up and ready half an hour before. And I say to the couple, don't assume, you might have to pay them a little more to be ready that half hour early. A lot of DJs roll it in, but some DJs, not so much. So make sure that they can play music, or a cellist or whatever. If you got a live band that you've picked to play music, they might not at all assume that they're supposed to play before. So you have to talk to them about the prelude music, whether it's a DJ or your friend on piano or a band you've hired. This gets left, it falls between the cracks so often. Hey, can you play half an hour? Can you start playing half an hour before the ceremony so that when guests arrive, it's a nice atmosphere? So the first thing is that music is playing at all. And then the second, even bigger thing is choose the music. And yes, I do mean perhaps specific songs. Give your DJ a playlist. Couples choose the first dance songs and the no playlist and all that. But you would not believe how many weddings, like a rustic wedding, I'll show up to, where everybody's wearing burlap and the groomsmen are all in suspenders, and it's kind of that country barn wedding feel. But the DJ decides to play like classical Baroque music from the 17th century. And it just doesn't fit. And that annoys me to no end, that a DJ will roll up and the default will be to play something that belongs, looks like it belongs at the Met or some sort of conservatory wedding. That doesn't make sense. So, and maybe it's just, I get to see that kind of wedding. Typically the crowd wants like Kenny Chesney or Rascal Flatts playing. That is definitely, you're capable. And I tell the couple, choose some of your favorite songs. And if that's top 40 hits for you, if that's country music, whatever that is, Taylor Swift, guests like arriving to regular music that they can hum along to or sit in the seats and enjoy listening to. Hey, if your wedding isn't a conservatory or the Met, and that's what that kind of quartet music or Baroque orchestra is conducive to the setting, then do that. But I'm seeing way too much jarring. Just the same way as it would be bizarre to be in a space like that with checkered marble floors and a fountain, to have Kenny Chesney playing in a space like that. That would also be weird. So, and as we said, and Mark made a meme of me inside the group, let's make sure the music doesn't suck too much or something like that. We want the music now to be, apparently I have opinions about music. We want the music to match the occasion and everything else the couple's going for. And so you tell them that for sure. Don't forget that. This is one of those things that falls through the cracks. So advise them on the music and that they may need to have a conversation with their couple, with their DJ rather, okay? And finally, who is greeting guests at the door? That's the last thing. So I'll just pop back in here. Who's greeting guests at the door? Bringing this home here, just some brief thoughts on this. But again, because we're envisioning with our couple them moving into the space, guests are arriving, it's nice to have a couple of live human beings at the door a lot of times, sometimes handing out programs. Programs are becoming rarer in weddings that I'm seeing. So maybe just a hello. And of course, you want the people at the door answering that question, where do we sit? Which side? It's amazing how almost no wedding that I officiate anymore says, oh, yes, you must sit on the side. But it's amazing how many guests still think that that's the convention. So they'll get into the space and you'll see people stop right away. They stop. And so you get this backlog of bottleneck at the door where people, cousins or groomsmen, as is traditional, I'll just tell them, choose a couple people, whether it's somebody from the wedding party, just have them saying hello to people and move them along, sit anywhere you'd like. Great to see you. If it's a sprawling resort, again, where the wedding's on a different floor, on a rooftop, you might want to tell them, check with the staff of the venue to see if they have staff that are going to help people get there. Signage is very helpful. Kim and Andrew's wedding upstairs. That's helpful. So I'm trying to get them into a space. And again, you say, oh, again, this feels like wedding planner territory. No, you're trying to make a great experience and a great crowd. When people arrive, you want people to feel welcome, people to be enjoying themselves, the atmosphere to be really good. Because when you step up there, you don't want anybody frustrated or lost or a kind of an incoherence between a discrepancy between the space and the music. So you're really helping to accommodate for yourself and the atmosphere you're going to create as an officiant. These are the little details. So tell them, find out if the staff are going to do this. And a lot of venues, the staff do this, so they don't need to recruit any of their own people. Find out if you'd like one of the parties to do this, or sometimes they're looking for people who were not in the wedding party, but they were like, oh, we were looking for a job for our cousin and his wife to do. And then you say, okay, well, greeting guests is perfect. So that's an example sometimes where they're like, okay, this is great because we needed a job for somebody else. The word of caution I give them, so you want to put this in your cap as well, is a lot of times they'll say, oh, my parents can do that. And I say, no, this needs to be the kind of person, so listen up, that won't get bogged down in the greeting of people. Parents are typically getting into really deep conversations with long lost relatives. Haven't seen you in a year. Oh my gosh. That's not what you want happening at the door, where people are like trying to peel themselves past the parents who are now getting embroiled in all these conversations with loved ones they haven't seen forever. It's got to be people who will be, known and friendly, but not stopping all the traffic at the door. So to the point that they can't do their jobs. It's got to be the kind of person who can say, welcome, sit wherever you like. Are you excited? What a beautiful day. Making small talk, moving people along. Couples are so happy. I'll go back to Mike's comment. What he said, he just did a workshop, 2 workshops with this. Couples are like, we would not have thought of that. Okay. And again, we're making an atmosphere that is conducive, not just to a great wedding, but to us setting the stage to perform in an unboring way and have a great, enthusiastic, happy crowd. This goes a long way toward that. Okay. So wrapping up again, I'll just flip back in the spreadsheet here so you can see. We talked about whether or not the couple have done a first look. Are they going to be off separately hiding from each other, or will they have seen each other and be hanging out? Some couples have done a first look, but then they still kind of split up and one goes to the bridal suite and one still wants to say hi to guests. That's fine because, again, whether or not they've seen each other, it's still up to the marriers whether they want to see the guests ahead of time. That's a totally different thing. So maybe they've seen a first look, but they're still going to hide. Where our partner A, I want to show up and find them and their party, find out what's happening. Are they greeting people? Are they playing mini golf? Are they all together in the big bridal suite brouhaha? And partner B, same thing. Where are they? And then who's playing music? Do not forget those details of make sure someone is playing music, and then make sure it's music you actually want to hear and the guests want to hear, and that matches the atmosphere and the environment of the wedding venue and the space and the tone you're going for. And then, of course, who's greeting guests at the door? The staff, the venue staff might be doing that. But again, it's also really helpful, I think, to have people who know the couple, know the guests, just say, hey, they're welcome, handing out programs maybe, but at the very least saying, sit wherever you'd like, okay? A lot of signage can accomplish that really well, but there's nothing like a human touch as well if the couple's into that. Okay, so that is it. That covers our section of pre-ceremony. Again, by the time we get here, the couple's usually like, oh man, that sounds great. Now we're excited. Next week, you're not going to tell your couple next week because you're going to just move right into it. Typically in the meeting, we're 20 minutes in now, if you're counting. For us, we're 6 weeks in, 6 sessions in, and I'm looking forward to next week, Wedding Zero. I did it again. Wedding Zero to Ceremony Hero. I just want to get right to the hero part, I think. And it is Wedding Hero Wednesday. We are going to get right to session 7, where we're talking about the actual ceremony. Pre-ceremony, you might say, technically, because it's everybody lined up. We're going to talk about processional, but really, we're so ready for the ceremony that I consider it ceremony start when we line up. This is going to be happening minutes before the ceremony. And of course, our opening remarks, which is the magic ingredient, is at ceremony start time. So I'll reiterate that for you as well, okay? Just want to see if I missed anything in the chat that I can answer real quick. Suzanne is here. Glad you're here. Good to see you. And Dave from Pennsylvania checking in. Cool. You can catch any of my replays, remember, by going to my YouTube channel, click on the live tab, and bam, you will see more videos live than I have actually polished and produced because I love getting on here live. You can watch all the replays. Ruth is here from Kelowna. Good to see you. William asks, Eric Thomas, a.k.a. William, an unrelated question. There's a ring bearer in the processional. How do the rings get from the ring bearer to the best man, BM, discreetly? Okay. I have questions about the discreet part. So if you hadn't added that last thing, I would say the ring bearer just walks right up. they know in the rehearsal, ring bearer, I don't know how old this person is. Are they 3 or are they 13? This will depend on how you talk to them. But if it's like a 3 or 4-year-old, okay, you're going to walk right to, you're going to walk right to Steve. He's the best man. And you're going to give him the ring. It doesn't have to happen discreetly at all. I would say it happens right in the open. People love that. Steve gets down and little ring bearer walks up. So whether this is a 13-year-old or a 3-year-old or whatever, I wonder about the discreetly part, because it just typically it's part of the ceremony. They march up. The kids make quite a scene anyway. It's all good. Who knows what they're going to do? And then ring bearer comes right up, gives the rings to the best man. The only thing I always say is, best man, lose the box. Don't have him hand you a full box. Take the rings out and put those rings in your pocket. We don't want any bulges. We don't want you opening the box when it's time for rings. And of course, they've shifted and they fall on the ground. So I always say, take the rings, put them in your pocket, and they're waiting there for the time for the ring exchange, okay? So that is how I would answer that. And again, I would say dispense with the discreet part. Just it can all happen in the open. There's nothing about it that needs to be done. Sometimes it's a decoy ring. Again, if it's a really little kid, 10-year-old. Okay, so thanks for that context. Then the 10-year-old just walks up, presents himself to the best man, boop, and that's it. It can happen in seconds. Even if it doesn't, that's okay. That is why, again, this will decide whether it's the kids are at the beginning of the processional or the end. When you have kids this age, it can be either or. But I would think that the people at the back, whether it's, whatever attendants are walking down, will kind of be watching this happen and make sure they're not crashing up to the front. Let it happen. Processionals are full of magical little unscripted moments that are fun and unanticipated, and that is what adds to the magic of processional. Is kind of a weird, when you think about this weird tradition of walking slowly up. A lot of people call it boring, actually, but this is the moment, especially kids, where let them have these little moments. They're really, really precious and add a lot to the ceremony. Okay. So that's it. I'm going to pop off now. I got to get, like I said, I got to get my kid's bike to a tune-up, and I don't want these videos to be too long. If you want to join these other amazing members like Mike and William and Mark and other people who've commented here on how they're crushing it, unboringweddingacademy.com. You can grab your invite for a 50% off membership to join. And of course, if you want the pro course, a lot of business people here starting their own practice, unboringweddingacademy.com/pro. And of course, grab the book on any Amazon site if you want to follow along. A lot of people are waiting for their copies to get here. Hopefully you get yours. Wedding Zero to Ceremony Hero. I look forward to seeing you Friday. I am going to be here live for a question of the week. And we're going to talk about ring warming. What is a ring warming? The best way to do one and the absolute worst way to do one. Yes, folks, there is both. And so we'll talk all about that. I will see you Friday, same channel, same time, hopefully a lot of the same people, because I love seeing you here. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and can't wait for next time. Have a good one. Marry on.